Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Ahmad Bayan, coming to you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Alright, and this one is basically going into what you're seeing here on your screen. Alright, the person has been deleted after being shot by an ICE agent. Alright, Minneapolis DHS officials say. Right, and you know, this is stirring up basically an uproar of people, you know, because look at this. So this watching the news here also, you know, more ICE protests expected in New York City day after Minneapolis shooting, right? And yeah, it causing a lot of uproars right now, you know. Just watching the news here also, seeing a lot of uproars.
Last night to protest and call for justice, with more demonstrations expected today. Naomi Ruckham joins us live from Lower Manhattan with more on this story. Naomi.
Cindy, good morning. That video out of Minneapolis is raising concern and fear among immigrant families here in New York City. And throughout the day today, starting in just a few hours this morning, groups will gather again here downtown to protest the recent rise in ICE activity here and across the nation. This was the scene last night at Foley Square as hundreds of protesters gathered just hours after hearing about the shooting in Minnesota. Demonstrators came with signs and chants saying while they are fearful, they will continue to speak out against the recent rise in immigration enforcement nationwide. Mayor Zohran Mamdani also spoke out against the shooting in Minneapolis, reiterating New York's role as a sanctuary city. The city's sanctuary city laws prohibit city workers and resources from being used to aid civil immigration enforcement, with exceptions for violent criminals.
Right, so you're here and there, right? You know, let me get a script here before I get into some more videos. Right, this is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8. Alright, it says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. Right, and that pale horse going into who? Edom, is so-called white man. Alright, the ones that are ruling today. It says, and hell followed with him. Alright, so what he do when ever since this devil, you know, is in power, you know, evils are multiplied on the earth. Alright, you know, which goes straight back to even Alexander time, you know, because the same people from back then, you know, reincarnated and came back in this time, right? And back then, you know, in First Maccabees, you know, we talk about when Alexander had passed away, you know, the rest of them, you know, of his servants, you know, rule in their place, you know, in his place actually, Salakia, right? And you know, where they put crowns on their head, and you know, from there, you know, many years after, you know, evils, you know, were multiplied on the earth. So these people, you know, these people are still here. Alright, the same Roman Empire time, you know, the Greco-Roman Empire, you know, these devils today, you know, have taken a lot of crafty things from back then and have it and actually using it in these times, right? If you pay attention to how they run the world, right? So let's continue here. Revelation 6 and 8. It says, and behold, and and looked, Salakia, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with the hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Right? So they bring in what? Trouble, they bring in mayhem, they bring in chaos, they bring in problems. Right? And all this thing that we see happening here right now is basically like a replay of this guy, this black guy who had got deleted by the officer, and it caused a whole riot, I think it's George Floyd, something like that, this is basically like a replay of that, and let's get our next precept here. It's just basically a replay of those things from back then, because what Esau trying to do is basically rile up the people to reach that extent where they're going to fight back, so he will be able to bring forth what? Martial law. Right? This is their plan. All right. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and let's read from verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of the prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. Right? So we see any kind of ruler Trump and these people are, right? We see in the way how they ruling, we see in how they doing things. They coming down with great wrath, right? They doing things personally, to basically get people angry, to make people lash out, because that is what they want. They want to, they want to bring order, but out of chaos, right? That's how they want to bring the order, out of chaos. Okay? In order for them to basically to basically show that, hey, the people proving their point, Verse 3 says, an unwise king destroyed his people, right? And this is who ruling today, unwise kings, unwise, rulers. Alright, I.C.Ê, the so-called white man, the top banking families, for another chime on that, right? These are the people that ruling today. It says, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited, right? So these unwise people that is ruling today, you see how they doing things, The scripture come to my mind, is there any more wisdom in T-Man? Alright? Could have no more wisdom in this guy anymore. Alright? Because what he's doing, he's riling up people. Alright? Have a video here to show again. Right, so you're seeing all kind of different things taking place, right? And all this is because of you know, what took place here with this lady being, you know, unalived, you know, and, you know, many people saw the video.
And now he wants to take it. Of course he cannot take it. And I say...
Out of the chaos unfolding tonight.
There's a lot of things.
Let's put this video under the microscope and walk through it. And I can tell you, I've watched this over 24 times right now. The focal point is going to be the front left fender of that vehicle, and the agent that is then beyond it who decides to open fire. Now, the way agents are trained, first of all, and the police chief alluded to this in the press conference, is that they're not permitted to fire into a moving vehicle solely for the purpose of disabling the vehicle. When you look at that video, you can actually see that vehicle making contact, the front left of that vehicle, with the ICE agent who was there. But again, it'll come down to a matter of question. Could that agent have moved out of the way? They're not required to retreat. There's no duty to retreat when facing someone who may be potentially violent. Now, there's another thing to point out too, and that's the angle that we see from the bystander, is that it appears just before the shots are fired, the front wheels on that vehicle turn to the right. That's an indication, obviously, to us from that vantage point that the driver is about to move out of that location toward the right. That's why this is such a powder keg, because there are essentially two aspects of this. There's the policy, the law, you know, what agents are allowed to do, and there's an issue of judgment. Just because you can do something, should you? That is why we're going to continue to see this outrage, because that agent decision to pull his weapon, if he indeed found himself in a situation where he's in fear for his life, caused the death of a local resident there.
You know, and at the end of the day, you know, the person wasn't, you know, really aiming to run over anyone, you know, as we see in the video here, you know, and, you know, this just to show you how wicked these people are, because when you listen to they speak, you know, they basically showing that they're lying, right? Of the things that they're saying, because you basically the whole world seeing what is going on with them, you know, and it's showing you who these people are. All right, they are known as the devil. All right, the deceiver, the slanderer. All right.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. You asked to...
And, you know, everyone understanding is that these people are clearly lying, you know, because what she's saying, you know, it don't add up with what, you know, you see in the video. All right. So clearly you could see the person was trying to get away from them. All right. And this is where Esau does come down to the point where, you know, they have what known as the forgers of lies. You know, they have possessions of no value. All right. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6. And verse 16, it says, "These 6 things doeth the Lord Yahweh hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood." Alright, and all this is speaking about who? Esau Edom, so-called white man. Alright, clearly you saw in the video that, you know, they lie. Alright, to show you that they lie.
About a shooting that we just...
All right.
Overseas.
You asked...
Let's put this video
To ICE.
get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. They are already...
And also as the scriptures goes, whoever perished being innocent. So that basically also there was a judgment from the Lord unto that lady, But it's going to also do what? It's going to spark up concern with the people over there, where people are going to protest, people are going to fight back, people are going to basically put power into their own hands, right? And they will not care who make the laws and what the government actually say, because they're going to fight back, and this is what Esau looking for. All right, this is why the lady came out and talked so proudly that and lied. They don't think that they know that they're lying. They know that they're lying. They're doing it on purpose. So people will get angry. People will lash out. All right, that's what they want. In order for they to bring martial law. In order for them to, in order for it to have civil war. This is what they're looking for. Civil unrest. In order to push their agenda.
Trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. As soon as it happened and we learned of the incident, we had several priorities. The first, of course, was to get the victim to the hospital and to get care as soon as possible. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry.
You asked.
Overseas now, and there is anger on the streets of the U.S. city of Minneapolis tonight after a federal immigration agent shot a woman dead in her car. President Donald Trump says it was self-defense. Confronting vision from the scene, though, throws doubt on that as the furious local mayor demands the so-called ICE agents get out of his city.
And Trump speaking on it, wasn't... He had all the helping because he basically adding fuel to the fire, He's showing them that, hey, he and all adding to the lies. It does to show you who these people really are.
Are in their way, ICE agents move in. 37-year-old Renee Good was unarmed.
Shame! Shame!
Shot in the face, her car crashes into a pole. It's 8:30 in the morning. Shocked witnesses do not stop recording, confronting the ICE agent who opened fire.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
As her wife huddled over her, there was little hope for Miss Good, who described herself as a writer, a poet, and a mum of a 6-year-old. Anger boiling over on icy streets. As paramedics removed her body, the couple's dog comforted her distraught partner.
They just killed that lady right there in that car, y'all.
ICE said it acted in self-defense, Donald Trump stating the driver violently, willfully and viciously ran over the ICE officer.
You see, this man just didn't add, he didn't try to butt it up, nothing, he basically add fuel to the fire, he's saying violently, willfully and viciously ran over the ICE officer, right? Which is nothing like that took place, right? So as I say, these people, they're going to get exactly what coming to them, because Trump is basically trying to, anger everyone, and it's going to reach a point where it's a whole mob is going to come for I.C.Ě, right? A whole mob, all right? It's going to have a whole civil unrest,
It is hard to believe he is alive.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. A woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull.
Soon on the streets, thousands were matching the fury of city leaders.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Alright, so this is the book of Proverbs 6 again, and verse 16. It says, "These 6 things doeth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren." Alright, this is these devils for you. Okay, so yeah, you know, I have other scriptures I could get there, but you know, I will make this one short. Alright, kind of pressing for time right now. Alright, so with that, you know, I will end it there. Lord willing, this lesson here was edifying to the elect of Israel. I like to say Shalom.